addressing the others. Trunk lines are only a small part of the issue. The collection lines, the collection system lines that go into the neighborhoods, the smaller lines that bring those flows to the trunk lines are shown here in orange. If all of them were shown, it would just be one large map of orange. These are the ones that we have upgraded under the Century 2 or Pace 10 program, and that represents about 335 miles of lines have been upgraded thus far. The storage tanks, this gives you a feel for the ones that are out there. If you haven't seen them or aren't familiar with them, this is a 3,250,000 gallon tank in West Knoxville near Walker Springs. It's our smallest tank. Our largest tank is an underground tank, a 9 million gallon tank out off of Broadway in North Knoxville. So those tanks all together, 30 million gallons of storage in the system were constructed. And they have very effectively addressed our needs.
What happens once it's in there? Does it get pumped out or does it leach out?
Based upon the type of facility it is, it's either pumped out or it drains back out by gravity. And in some cases, it's a combination of the two. We've also increased our wet weather treatment capacities and capabilities at both our Kauai plant and at Fourth Creek. Phase 1 of those projects are complete. We spent about $70 million at those two facilities. We've got two additional projects, one at each plant, that will be completed before the end of the consent decree. One in 2018 and one in 2021. Those estimates right now stand at about another $50 million to complete those required improvements. The slide we looked at earlier talked about an 82% reduction in sanitary sewer overflows. This shows you graphically what has been accomplished. The blue bars are the wet weather overflows for a 12-month period. The red are the dry weather overflows, and the green line represents the rainfall, 12-month cumulative rainfall. So you can see back just prior to the consent decree and the Phase 10 efforts, the level that we were at in terms of annual sanitary sewer overflows versus where we are today. And while rainfall is a factor, you can also look at those peaks and see for similar peaks of 12 months of rain, what the corresponding results are. So an 82% reduction overall in sanitary sewer overflows as a result of the work that we've done.
What causes the dry weather overflow?
A lot of it is due to grease.
It's what?
Grease. A lot of it is grease related. Some of it will be a collapsed pipe or debris that gets in the system. But the thing that we're trying to attack as much as possible right now is a major contributor, grease related. Commissioners, as we've improved the performance of the collection system, it also makes it a little bit easier for us to operate the wastewater treatment plants, particularly during wet weather events, which is when they are the most challenging. Our operators have always worked very hard at the plants to remain in compliance. We have over 4,500 opportunities annually at each plant to violate some parameter of our permit. The National Association of Clean Water Agencies recognizes the highest performing plants in the country each year by presenting awards. A platinum award is for a plant that has had no violations over a 5-year period, a 5-year continuous period. Gold is a recognition of a plant that has had no violations in the 12-month annual period, and silver would be 5 violations or fewer. In the past 12 years, our plants qualified for 48 awards and achieved 43 of those based upon our performance. And again, 4,500 opportunities to violate a permit on an annual basis. So 5 or less consistently at all our plants, and in some cases none for 5 years, actually none for 8, 9 years now at our East Ridge plant, is a significant accomplishment by our plant operators. Let's look at the electric system now. The electric system has been enjoying a record-setting reliability. Reliability that 94% of our residential customers and 96% of our business customers have rated as excellent or good in a recent survey. Part of that is, I think, due to our aggressive storm restoration and storm management efforts. Part of that is due to our improved vegetation management program and the consistency of that program. But part of it is also due to all of the efforts that we've gone to improve our system, to harden the system. And what I want to talk about in the next few minutes is some of those efforts. I will tell you, though, that the American Public Power Association just last year awarded us, recognized our system as a reliable public power provider at the diamond level, which is the highest level achievable. And when they came in and did that assessment of us, basically came within a couple of points of a perfect score. So our folks did a great job, and are continuing to do a great job in managing and upgrading and operating our electric system. Looking a little bit more closely at reliability, particularly how it's changed in the past 10 years. Looking back at 2006, the average customer was without power on average of 3 hours. 10 years later, this past year, we finished up, average customer was without power for 1 hour and 50 minutes. Significant improvement as a result of all that's been done, both operationally and in hardening our system. Another way to look at that is to plot that against the improving customer satisfaction scores. The green line there represents what we just looked at, the decline in the amount of time that customers are out of power on an annual basis. The red and blue lines represent the increasing customer satisfaction for both residential and business customers. And I would point out that that scale is on a 4-point scale. So as the outage time has declined, customer satisfaction, as you might expect, is improving. And there are that and other factors involved in doing that, I'm sure. Let's look at some of the things we've done in the electric system to improve it, and in some cases harden it. This particular slide, each of those dots represents one of the 14,000 poles on our system that have been improved, or replaced rather, since 2012. We've got a total of 130,000 poles on our system, so if we show them all up there, it would be just one giant black block. But as part of our Century 2 efforts, we are moving forward. We're replacing about 2,600 poles a year. That's our goal. And we're maintaining that schedule at this point in time. Another thing that we've focused on, particularly since 2007, has been the failures that we were experiencing on our direct buried cable. Some of our older subdivisions and commercial developments were served by direct buried electrical conduit. We were experiencing on average 50 failures a year in 2007. Since then, we've strategically replaced all but 47 miles of that direct buried cable, and our failures has dropped from 50 on an annual basis down to 5 this past year. And each of those failures, when they occur, can be somewhat significant in length, simply because you don't just go in there and replace it as a point repair. You go in and you replace it and remove it. So it's a significant improvement to our customers when we do that. We've also added 2 new NT substations. These are the substations where we take power from TVA, directly from TVA, and then use it to distribute to our other substations and our customers throughout our service territory. Both of these, as you can see, are in the north and eastern part of our service territory. It gives us a great deal of additional capacity and flexibility to serve the growing load east and north. It also gives us redundancy and allows us flexibility operationally as we improve some of the other substations and need to have them out of service. We can do a lot of things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do because of these 2 new infills. Additionally, we've got 2 new distribution substations. Those are the blue ones down here in the heart of our service territory. One of those is the Dale Avenue substation. It meets the growing needs of the University of Tennessee campus and its load. It also provides additional redundancy and support improves reliability for Children's Hospital and for Sanders Hospital. The other substation is UT related in some ways as well. It's over on Cherokee Trail, and it's designed to handle the growing load from the Cherokee Farms campus, and also to provide additional backup and support to the load that is increasing almost daily from UT Medical Center. In addition, we've upgraded 9 of our existing substations. When I say upgraded, we've replaced cap and pin insulators, we've replaced circuit breakers, we've replaced control houses, and in general, we've just upgraded the technology and modernized those substations, replacing old aging equipment and infrastructure in doing so. In addition to those improvements, we've done the same thing at the one shown here in green, except in these 19 substations, we've also added additional capacity. In some cases, we've replaced an aging transformer with a newer unit with higher capacity because of increasing loads. In other cases, we've gone in and simply left the 2 that were there operational because they didn't need to be replaced, but added a third or fourth transformer as was necessary. So whether it was for reliability or flexibility, whether it's for additional capacity, we've made those decisions and made those upgrades as necessary for those specific needs. Also, we've gone in and have begun to replace the lines between those substations. It's very helpful, obviously, to have upgraded substations, but you also need to look at the wires that run between them and make sure we've got adequate capacity and adequate size lines. So that's what we're doing here. We've got, since 2007, we've upgraded the lines to 74 miles as shown by the purple lines on this particular slide. Another critical component for us is the electric system, is the downtown network. The network is a series of underground vaults and conduit that runs between them that basically serves the central business district. In 2007, we began a multi-phase project to upgrade those vaults, to replace transformers, add capacity, install additional circuit protectors. To date, we've upgraded 105 of those underground vaults. We've replaced 4,500 feet of primary conductor, and significantly, we've added 7 new vaults and added 3,200 feet of duct bank in the downtown area to meet the needs of growth. Much of that, most of it, actually is down in the area kind of in the northeast corner of the central business district, along Marble Alley and Jackson Avenue. So that particular aspect of it being driven by growth. Let's move now into the water system. We've been talking about improving electric reliability, talking about water. We're going to be focused on maintaining the excellent water quality and reliability that we have in our water system, particularly at our Mark B. Whitaker water treatment plant. That plant went in operation in 1927 and has had a perfect federal, state regulatory compliance record ever since the day it went into operation. We're continuing to invest in the plant. We're continuing to invest in the distribution system that takes that water to our customers. And what I want to talk about now are some of those projects. This particular slide at the top shows you the treatment processes involved at the water plant. As we take water out of the river, we remove the mud and debris and other particles in the water from it, and then chlorinate it, disinfect it, basically, and send it out into the distribution system to our customers. As I said, the plant was constructed in 1927, but it is anything but a 1927 plant, as you'll see as we go through this series of slides. The clear well, and as I talk about these, you'll see the individual units, treatment units highlighted in yellow on the slides. The clear wells basically store the treated water prior to it being pumped out into the distribution system to our customers. Prior to 2004, we had only about 1 million gallons of storage at the plant site. Since we produce 30 million gallons a day and pump it out to our customers, that gave us precious little time to have the plant offline, to do any maintenance or anything of that nature. So in 2004, we constructed a new 4 million gallon clear well, which you see there on the right, and a pumping station, a high service pumping station on the left, to be able to give us more flexibility and reliability at the plant. In 2008, we built a second clear well to match that one, and today we have 8 million gallons of storage and new high service pumps to give us a tremendous amount of flexibility and reliability, even more so than we've had in the past at that facility.
Hey, Bill, when those reach capacity, it has a spillway in of just hit a level of flow back.
No, we monitor closely the water that's being pumped into there, and we will not let it overflow. It does have emergency overflow, but that should never come into play. We're constantly monitoring in the control room the level of those tanks, the water demand in the system, and the level of water in the tanks in the distribution system. So it's being monitored and watched closely to avoid pressurizing those tanks or overflowing those tanks. Another part of the treatment process is the water being filtered through layers of sand and anthracite. In 2009, an $8 million rehabilitation and modernization project was completed on all 10 of our filters at the plant. The work included new transfer pumps, new air scour systems to improve the efficiency of the backwash process, and that project was an $8 million project. I think I failed to mention the Clearwell project earlier was a $13 million project, just to give you a feel of the magnitude of these improvements. Commissioner, some of you saw this project during construction, particularly I think in that middle picture, you were there when the hole was being excavated. This is the process, or part of the process, where we take the river water, pump it up to the head of the plant where it can then be treated. This $10 million project was completed just a couple of years ago. This project's not that expensive compared to all the others. This one was about $1.5 million, but it was a little bit nerve-wracking for everybody at the plant because we've got 3 of these clarification basins. What we did was take one down at a time and essentially removed everything in there, just leaving the exterior concrete walls in place. We replaced the troughs, we replaced the tube settlers. All of this had to be done during a period of time when the flows or the demands from the plant were at a minimum. We started in the fall, finished up in early spring before the spring and summer water demands rose. And so with one of those out of service at all times during that process and project, we were a little bit cramped in terms of our capacity, but the planning and execution of that project went very well. And what you see here are the new tube settlers prior to being placed into operation. And you can see just visually how much better they look than the old and worn and units that were being replaced. Disinfection, the slide photo on the left is our current disinfection building, our chemical building. It was built about 15 years ago. At that time, we did so because the regulations were pressing us, pushing us toward a change in disinfection. The disinfection processes for the head end of the plant. We continue to keep chlorine for the final disinfection. But now, today, we've started on a new project to address the needs of our disinfection at MBW. The Homeland Security and EPA, they haven't made it a requirement yet, but we're probably just a little ways away. We're moving toward what they call an inherently safer technology. That's fancy language for get rid of chlorine. We'll continue to use chlorine, but we will not use it in the gaseous form, which is the form that they consider most dangerous. And certainly it will make it easier for us to operate, easier for us and our plant operations personnel to use the liquid disinfection as opposed to the gaseous chlorine that we're accustomed to using historically. Stepping back and looking at everything we just talked about, you can see what an extensive effort has been made in the plants over the years, and we continue to invest there to maintain the reliability that's so critical at the water plant. At the same time, we're addressing the distribution system. You've heard us talk about the older pipe, galvanized, cast iron, and cement pipe, and you can see how as we replace that pipe, the break history, the break record is dropping, which makes it easier for us, better for our customers, and less expensive as well, since the breaks can be costly repairs. So, moving now to the gas system, let me tell you that it is very different from all the others. The gas system is strong, it's young. That has allowed us to focus in many respects on our replacement programs, which have been driven not by age, but by regulatory situations. It's allowed us to focus on the high-pressure system, which gives us the flexibility operationally that we've been trying so hard to achieve. And so what I'll talk about in the next few slides are how we've gone about doing that. This just illustrates what I said about the plant, or about the gas system being young. 1985, we had maybe 700, 750 miles of main. Today, we've got nearly 2,400. So in the last 30 years, 70% of our system has been installed. So we've got a relatively young system as far as the age of pipe is concerned, which has allowed us to focus, as I said, on replacement of regulatory replacements and high-pressure systems. Looking at the high-pressure system in 1996, you can see that while we may have had a vision of creating loops, we did not have the loops there. The green line that you're looking at is the East Tennessee Natural Gas Pipeline. We had some high-pressure lines serving some industrial areas out west. We had a line running over to the industrial areas to the east. Our vision ultimately was to connect those lines, be able to flow gas east and west better, and ultimately to connect lines here somehow to provide a better flow of gas into the inner core of our system as well. That would give us two directions of flow. It would give us higher pressure gas and the ability to move that gas to our customers at the far reaches of our system, or in those high demand areas during the ultimate cold weather days when gas was at its highest peak for customer usage. So that was our challenge in 1996. 10 years later, in 2006, we had added 30 miles of high pressure main and completed the North Loop. We had also acquired from East Tennessee Natural Gas this section of line here that brought it into kind of the core of our system. And the only thing that remained in completing our long-term vision was to be able to link up here, which we were able to do and complete this year, earlier this year. So we now have 71 miles of high-pressure main being fed internal to the system, also along the external edges, and we have a very good, strong, flexible system to move that gas to our customers, regardless of what their needs and what their demands might be.
What are the mains, preferred mains made of?
Today, we're primarily plastic and headed toward plastic and steel for the high-pressure, large diameter mains. We still have, and we'll talk about it here in just a minute, we still have some low-pressure steel in the system. Just a reminder of the value of that South Loop project, not just to us, but to UT as well, and the community. We had long planned to complete that loop. UT came to us with plans to do a conversion at their steam plant. That caused us to upgrade the size of that line to be able to accommodate their needs. And because of that, they shared in the cost of that project with us. They were able to switch from coal to gas. They eliminated their smokestack, and they reduced the emissions equivalent to about 700 vehicles, taking 7,000 vehicles off the road as a result of that. we've achieved our long-term vision of the inner loop and the flexibility and improved operations that it provided to us. Replacement programs, and Jerry, this gets to your question just a little bit. In the early 70s, we instituted a replacement program for uncoated steel mains and services. About the same time, we started a replacement program for our copper services. And then 10 years later, started looking at cast iron and ductile iron. All of that was driven not by the age of the system, but by regulatory issues that really dealt with corrosion control, corrosion inhibitors, the kinds of things that really made it more economical, more cost effective for us to just take the pipe out of the system than to otherwise meet all the regulatory requirements associated with those types of pipe. So that was why the pipe, as young as it was removed from the system. We've started now the low pressure coated steel removal. That started as we lined up on ductile iron, and that's a 20-year program as well. But we'll be primarily plastic, and on the high pressure steel lines, we'll remain steel. Just to give you a feel for one of those replacement programs, the cast iron ductile iron, here's what the system looked like in '96. We had 124 miles in the system at that time. We had 180 at one point, but we were in the midst of the replacement program. That's what it looked like in '96. In 2006, substantial progress there, down to 75 miles. And then in 2016, the only thing in our system today is 2.5 miles along Alcoa Highway. And that's there only because TDOT is working on that project. It was intended that would come out along with the TDOT project. That project has taken a little bit longer to get off the ground and be scheduled. It will come out as a part of the project that's now underway.
And the picture on the left is the steel one or the metal one or whatever thing. Is that the old one and you're replacing it with the yellow one? Or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Commissioners, I talked a lot about capital improvements. O&M programs, though, play a big role as well. The O&M programs help us maintain the life expectancy of the pipe. They help us maintain appropriate operations of the pipe as we move forward. And so you see here just some of the O&M programs in our system, whether we're maintaining valves, operating and maintaining substations, doing grease control, flushing hydrants, flushing the collection system, doing corrosion control or gas leak surveys. All of those programs are structured specifically to meet a given need in one of our systems. And all of that is helping us to maintain reliability and performance while we maintain the useful life of the pipe before or until it can ultimately be replaced. Bottom line is we continue, whether it's O&M or capital, to ensure solid performance of all of our systems. We don't want failures. We don't want any decline in service levels. Our programs are designed to maintain or improve on all of that. And Century 2 is critical to that. A good, strong, abundant supply of electricity, gas, water, wastewater services is critical to any community and its growth, to its economy, and to the quality of life. And our goal is to make sure that we provide that level of service to maintain adequate resources, adequate service, and adequate customer satisfaction throughout our service territory. We think one of the ways that recognition that we're on the right track comes from the national recognition that we receive from various sources. Some of those are illustrated on this particular slide. I won't go into those, but they are significant in terms of reliability, in terms of service, customer recognition, reliability, quality. It touches on all aspects of our system. That and the outstanding results from the latest customer satisfaction survey are very rewarding to us. But when it comes right down to it, one of the most rewarding things for us, and one of the things that says it all in our view, are the statements from our customers, such as this one, which was in the Knoxville News Sentinel just within the last week or so, 10 days. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to our people when they get recognized for doing a job that in many cases is not seen and not visible. In other cases, very visible and very disruptive, but customers appreciate what's going on, they understand why it's happening, and they know what the end result is intended to do, and that it will benefit them and the community in the long run. Questions?
Bill, what are the, you know, I guess the consent decree, we were, found ourselves in a situation where we were forced to truncate our timetable for a lot of our replacement and upgrade activity. How much of a threat is it that, I mean, we're obviously on another, again, we're on a schedule and we're funding and we're looking at how can we do this in a rhythmic, orderly way? What are the chances that, again, we're just trying to assess what potential threat is that, again, a court could come in and say, no, you've got to do that in 5 years or so, another, you know.
On the wastewater system, there is always a possibility that EPA, the court, some environmental group will file suit on some basis and demand action. I don't see, though, at this point in time, that being a likely outcome. I think the thing that drove the very, very visible and obvious thing that drove the environmental lawsuits and environmental concerns and regulatory action on the wastewater system were those sanitary sewer overflows. They are very much in control right now. They're not eliminated, and you'll never eliminate all of them. All wet weather overflows can never be eliminated. And we're addressing the dry weather overflows more and more every day with our grease control programs and other programs. Absent some catastrophic issue, I can't see today, as long as we stay the course and as long as we give EPA every reason to believe that we are on schedule and committed to that schedule and maintaining that schedule, and will continue with our programs of renewal and replacement, I don't see it happen. The critical element, though, with EPA is going to be making sure that they understand that even when the consent decree ends, our commitment to the programs that have been created to maintain the collection system, for adequate renewal and replacement of the system to keep it from falling back into the shape it was in, it will be critical that they understand that we are committed to maintaining those programs and continuing